Hello everyone, my name is Leah Schiffler and I'm going to present to you my Capstone project. My Capstone project was completed at McLean Home Birth Services. Mary McLean has worked as a certified nurse midwife for 14 years. She has delivered over 600 babies. She typically delivers between 2 and 8 babies every month. Mary provides numerous services to pregnant women wishing to have home births. She travels to her clients for home visits and conducts the maternal, fetal, and newborn assessments. She screens for genetic conditions, provides education, gives ample time for any questions the expectant parents may have, and offers to lend books on pregnancy and birth. Mary attends the births of her clients and also provides postpartum care. I chose to complete my capstone with a nurse midwife primarily because I have always had a strong passion for advocating for women's health. I believe childbirth to be one of the most extraordinary phenomena on the planet. I wanted to serve the pregnant population, particularly women seeking home births. Women seek home births for a number of reasons, but many of them choose home births due to barriers that exist in healthcare. I've also always had a strong interest in labor and delivery. My clinical rotation at Women and Babies Hospital was an amazing experience, and I've wanted to do more to provide care and education to new mothers. Now I would like to talk a little bit about the population served by home birth services. First and most prominently is the Amish population. Pennsylvania is home to the second largest Amish population in the country. The Amish typically seek either home birth or a birthing center for 2 reasons. First, the Amish population typically does not seek treatment from hospitals unless during emergencies. They prefer the comfort and privacy of their homes. Second, and perhaps more importantly, is money. The Amish do not have health care and therefore pay for everything out of pocket. Because having a birth at home or at a birthing center is much more affordable, it is quite the attractive option. The second population is families of lower socioeconomic status. This is attributed to one of the same reasons home birth targets the Amish population: cost. The cost of having a child at a hospital is substantially higher than the cost of a home birth. The third population is the pregnant population in general. Home birth services offer comprehensive care and continuity of care. Because McLean Home Birth Services provides care before, during, and after birth, many needs and concerns can be addressed that are not given the same attention in a hospital setting. All 3 of the populations identified previously share common needs. First and foremost is the need for education. Many changes occur during pregnancy, and it is essential to educate pregnant mothers as to these specific changes and stages. Education may include, but is certainly not limited to, birthing techniques, birth plans, pain relief strategies and treatments, nutritional needs, prenatal vitamins and supplements, signs of infection, preeclampsia, miscarriage, early labor, and gestational diabetes, genetic testing, newborn care, breastfeeding, and many, many more topics. These populations also need routine assessments. Mary McLean offers her traveling services and does home visits for all of her clients. This removes some of the stress, strain, and no-shows of requiring the pregnant woman to travel to your office. Mary schedules appointments throughout the entire pregnancy and also schedules postpartum appointments. Prenatal care is essential for these populations. Many pregnant women go without proper prenatal vitamins and nutrition. Mary is able to counsel women on the proper diet and vitamin regimen to support a healthy newborn. Another big need is access to care. This is an enormous barrier for many individuals in the hospital setting. The Amish typically ride buggies, and making and keeping appointments can be challenging. Not to mention, the Amish spend an entire day in travel and then are behind an entire day on responsibilities within their community. Those of lower socioeconomic status also need better access to care. Many work multiple jobs and are working during normal hours of operation. This can make appointments very tricky. Additionally, if the person in question does not have a personal vehicle, they have to rely on public transportation. A number of issues exist for these populations, as well as for the practice of home births in general. A major social issue in the pregnant population is teen pregnancy. This goes hand in hand with the second issue, lack of education. Nurse midwives must prepare themselves to be able to educate a younger generation client and provide age-specific information and care. Another issue is the issue of drug use during pregnancy. It is important to be able to understand and spot the signs and symptoms of drug use and abuse. Having information to provide regarding support groups, detox and rehab centers, and mental health care is essential to combat drug addiction. Political issues definitely exist surrounding home birth. Home birth is still considered by some to be a taboo practice. Many believe that births outside of the hospital setting are dangerous. Laws for the practice of nurse midwifery vary from state to state. In Pennsylvania, midwives must have a collaborative agreement in place in order to practice. A collaborative agreement in Pennsylvania is a signed agreement between the certified nurse midwife and an OB/GYN for situations regarding transfer to a hospital. However, this has caused a number of issues to arise. The American College of Nurse Midwives issued a position statement regarding such agreements. The American College of Nurse Midwives opposes requirements for signed collaborative agreements between physicians and certified nurse midwives or certified midwives as a condition for licensure, reimbursement, clinical privileging, and hospital credentialing or prescriptive authority, as such requirements in practice interfere with effective coordination of care. The American College of Nurse Midwives suggests that requirements for a signed collaborative agreement do not guarantee the effective communication between midwives and physicians that is so critical to successful collaboration. The American College of Nurse Midwives also suggests that collaborative agreements signed by individual physicians wrongly imply that certified nurse midwives and certified midwives need the supervision of those individuals in all situations. It can also be extremely difficult to find a physician to sign a collaborative agreement. They may decline for a number of reasons. Some of the reasons are that some only agree when the population is mostly Amish, and distance of client from the hospital where the physician practices. The pregnant population also faced some economic issues. In 2011, the national average cost of a vaginal delivery with no complication in a hospital setting was $10,657. This number continues to rise. The national average of a vaginal birth at a birth center was $2,277. McLean Home Birth Services is even less expensive, and Mary accepts some insurances and Medicaid. She also only requires half of the cost before the birth and the second half after. Some cultural issues exist surrounding pregnancy as well. Our culture is one that has not yet fully accepted home birth. It is still a culture of hospitalization, frequent and perhaps unnecessary C-sections, and a culture that relies heavily on medications. It is important for midwives to educate others on the power of home birth. The first step of the project was to find the agency where I would complete my Capstone project. I searched for local midwives in my area specializing in home birth. I found McLean Home Birth Services, researched it, and then contacted Mary. We planned to meet to collaborate and discuss the purpose of the Capstone project and to develop goals with one another. After we were sure that this was the right fit for the project, we set up a game plan for me to accompany her on a multitude of home visits. To prepare for this project, I brushed up on my knowledge of maternal-fetal medicine and assessment, as well as my knowledge of diet recommendations for pregnant women. The first day of my project, I helped to file and organize patient charts and pull the charts needed for the upcoming visits. Next, I helped in the assembly of vaginal exam kits that Mary takes with her to home visits. During my first home visit, I took on an observational role in order to see how Mary conducts herself during the visits. Depending on whether it was an antepartum or postpartum visit, I performed maternal, fetal, and newborn I also provided education whenever possible. I thought of a couple things I would have added to my project if I were to do it over again. First, I would have created educational packets on prenatal nutrition. Foods were the number one thing Mary and I received questions about. I feel it would be helpful to have lists of foods that contain the vitamins they are to be receiving throughout their pregnancy. I would also help Mary to complete an updated frequently asked questions sheet on home birth services. Mary and I came up with a list of objectives in which I could help the home birth population. They include assisting Mary with filing, paperwork, and vaginal exam kit assembly, completing maternal, fetal, and newborn assessments during home visits, recording vital signs and assessments, if possible, attending a home birth, and finally, learning the role midwifery plays in providing care to vulnerable populations. I was very successful in completing the first three objectives. I was easily able to assist with filing paperwork and vaginal exam kit assembly. I was also able to complete maternal, fetal, and newborn assessments regularly. I also was able to record vital signs and assessments for comparison. I unfortunately was not able to attend a live birth with Mary as she had a birthing assistant at the time of my project. I did, however, succeed in my most important objective, which was learning the role midwifery plays in providing care to vulnerable populations. Throughout this project, I was able to assist in providing comprehensive care to a vulnerable population. Home visits were thorough and allowed as much time as necessary to answer all questions the client had. Mary and I were able to provide continuity of care by providing home visits to clients throughout their entire pregnancy, during their labor and birth, and postpartum. A major impact home birth has on this population is patient autonomy. With home birth, the client is able to create a birth plan catered specifically to her in the safety and comfort of her home. Patient autonomy is always important, and it flourishes in the home birth setting. Perhaps the most important impact of that is education. I was able to provide education during every single home visit. I feel that this was the most important impact because knowledge is empowering. I feel rewarded when I can educate a client in order to have a healthy, positive pregnancy, birth, and postpartum experience. What stands out for me in particular is the education I provided to a client who was having tremendous pains and difficulties with breastfeeding. I helped her to improve her latch technique and offered solutions for her breast pain. This project has had a huge impact on me personally. I have had a constant fear of choosing the wrong profession. I'm at a juncture in my life where I'm about to make decisions that will affect the entirety of my life. This project has reinstilled in me the confidence in my career goals. I have had to embrace adulthood and accept that I must make difficult, life-changing decisions. And after spending time serving the vulnerable population I have had so much interest in theory, I was finally able to be hands-on with this population. I feel reaffirmed in the goals I have chosen for myself. I have plans to receive a dual master's in nurse midwifery and family nurse practitioner, and then possibly complete a doctor of nursing practice degree. My Capstone project has also impacted me professionally. I have seen the benefit of certain qualities of care. I now understand the enormous importance of providing compassionate and holistic care. In my opinion, few things are more important in healthcare than addressing the client as a whole. And as I mentioned in the previous slide, this project has helped me affirm my career goals for the future. As an unexpected and exciting bonus, Mary has offered to take me on as a student when I begin a nurse midwifery program. Thank you everyone for taking the time to listen to my presentation. On the following slide, I'm including a video for you to enjoy at your convenience. Thanks.